Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, Sonic from SEGADriven.com, and welcome back to our Sonic Amateur Games Expo 2018 coverage. In this video we're taking a look at Sonic and the Mayhem Master. Right, this is quite different, and it's going to be a little bit different to talk about as well. So, from what the booth page says for this game, Sonic and the Mayhem Master is a fan-made RPG game that was based on the Sonic Storybook series. The game offers a new look that fits to the aesthetic of the genre. You'll be entering the world of steampunk, controlling as a different Sonic with his own story and life. Unlike from others, this one is a bit slower, and the game is inspired by Mother 3. So, that is definitely the case here. This is an RPG, okay? So you've got a sort of a top-down perspective, and a cutesy Sonic with big ears and goggles, and there's obviously a big, heavy steampunk influence on the artwork. It's very nice. It's very indie game, let's put it that way, the look of it. The characters have all been redesigned to the point that if this was an official release by Sega, everybody would be moaning about the fact that everybody looks so different. That it's an art style that this can get away with, what with it being a fan game, I feel. And not to say that it's a bad art style by any means, but my God, can you imagine the amount of fanboy whining that you would have got from seeing this character design? Jesus. But yeah, I do like the art style, I've got to say. It's very cute. It matches the sort of RPG style that they're going for here anyway. So the actual game itself, so there's two areas that you can explore. The first one is this sort of pink sort of virtual space where you're running around. There's these sections on the floor here where spikes will pop up and they can give you damage. You're trying to look for a way to turn those off, and there's sentry bots running around the place, and if you come into contact with them, it'll obviously start an RPG style turn-based battle. The battles themselves, I'm a bit confused by. So you use these cards to attack, you click them with the mouse, and that's how you attack the enemies. However, it would appear that the enemy do a lot more damage to you than you can do to them, and every time I sort of went down to 0 health, it was just easy to run away from the battle, and when I did, that enemy didn't seem to spawn again. So I'm a bit confused as to why that is. It could be that this, what with it being inspired by Mother 3, or Earthbound as it's known by other people, it could be that this is being abstract on purpose, and that's part of the overall feeling they're going for. I feel like that's kind of what they're going for, because a lot of it doesn't seem to make an awful lot of sense without the fuller context. It does feel like these are stages just pinched from a bigger game, and you kind of have to sort of make heads or tails from what you're given, and yeah, it doesn't make an awful lot of sense out of context, it's got to be said. But yeah, so that's a bit odd. I don't know what's going on with the battles and the running. I don't see the point in doing the battles if you can just run away and then all the enemies sort of despawn essentially. So that was a bit strange. But yeah, once you've found the valve to turn off the spikes, you can then exit the stage, and you get a little cutscene again that's a bit sort of, I don't know, grimdark and kind of hints at further events and things, but you don't really get them. So that's the first section. The second section, Sonic sort of wakes up, is contacted by Amy, and then he activates a switch which transports him to sort of like a weird floaty looking world. Reminds me of Bastion, if you've ever played that. And whilst you're exploring there, you find access to like a train carriage. You explore the train, you go out onto the roof, and you find this little gem which you can then put back into the switch where you sort of entered this world from, and then it will take you back into your house. It's all, there's a lot going on here, and like I say, because it's kind of taken out of context of a bigger game, it's not particularly obvious what's happening. I quite like the art. I think it works fine. I don't feel like I fully understand what's happening because of the lack of context, essentially. So it's very difficult to judge this one on its own merits. And the thing is as well, they've gone to such a huge effort to create this sort of original art style, but they've decided to use the Sonic characters, and I just don't feel like that was necessary, because if they were just their own characters and they established their own world and made this completely independent production that you don't have to worry about licensing characters for, this could stand on its own right. I don't know why it needs to be tied in with the Sonic universe. maybe the bigger context would actually make more sense, but at the moment, don't really see it, and I find that a bit strange. So, bit of an odd one this. I can't really recommend it because what's here is so abstract and so far removed from Sonic the Hedgehog that I can't really recommend it as a Sonic fan, and I can't really recommend it as an RPG fan because it just doesn't make any sense really out of context. You need the fuller picture, and at the moment you just aren't getting that. So I suppose my biggest recommendation for this would be come for the art, come and see something a little bit different, because this is one of the more interesting offerings at Sage this year. But don't expect a traditional Sonic game, and don't expect something that's going to make an awful lot of sense, because, like I say, it does feel like both stages are kind of taken out of context, and it's very difficult to sort of comprehend what's happening, to be honest with you. So yes, Sonic and the Mayhem Master, interesting, unique, different, but I can't really recommend it just because it's so far removed from what I would want from a Sonic game, to be honest with you.